Hey everyone, today we're going to learn about the theoretical probability of simple events. So we're continuing what we started yesterday. So if you remember, theoretical probability is the probability that an event occurs when all of the outcomes of the experiment are equally likely. Right? So it's equally likely that you get heads or a tails, or it's equally likely that you roll a die and get a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6, okay? And so theoretical probability is what should happen, okay? And then a simple event is an event consisting of only one outcome, meaning we are either flipping a coin or rolling a die. We're not doing both things, okay? So always on the bottom of your ratio that represents your probability, you're always going to put total. And I put total, I always write total in blue because blue goes on the bottom. So total goes on the bottom and on the top. So the bottom is total number of equally likely outcomes. Okay. And then on the top is going to be the number of ways. So the number of ways an event can occur. Okay. So that's how we find the probability, the theoretical probability of an event. Okay. And we always write it as a ratio, and you always need to simplify it. Okay, so let's look here. We are looking at a die. It says, how many faces does a number cube have? Okay, so number cube has how many faces? So every time I go ahead and write out my sample space, which means I go ahead and write out all of the possible outcomes. So you can get a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6. So my total would be how many possible outcomes, how many faces. It has 6 faces, okay? So what's the probability that a 1 will be rolled, okay? So if I'm talking about a number cube or a die, and I'm talking about theoretical probability, well, 6 is always going to go on the bottom, okay? So now in this situation, it has me looking for the probability that a 1 will be rolled. So how many 1s are there? There is 1 1. So the probability of rolling a 1 is 1 over 6. Okay. What's the probability of a 3? So a 3, there is only 1 3, so it's 1 out of 6 as well. Okay. So the next one says, what is the probability of a number greater than 2? So greater than 2. So 2 is equal to 2, not greater. 3 is greater, 4 is greater, 5 is greater, 6 is greater. Okay. So again, I have my 6 on the bottom, right? And down here, we're talking about a number cube too. So I'll go ahead and do that. So total goes on the bottom. And then the probability of greater than 2, we said 1, 2, 3, 4 of them. So 4 over 6. Those are both even numbers, so I can simplify, I can divide by 2. So I have 2 over 3. Okay. And then it says the probability that you roll a number cube. What is the probability you roll an even number? Okay, so even number. So even is everybody has a partner. So 2, 4, 6. So there's 3 even numbers out of 6. So 3 out of 6 is the same as 1/2. Okay. All right, so next we're talking about coins. It says, how many sides does a coin have? So again, I always want you to write out your sample space. So if you flip a coin, we either can have heads or tails. So how many sides are on a coin? Well, coin has 2 sides. So 2 is going to be my bottom number because it's the total number of possible outcomes. Then it says, what is the probability of landing on tails? So tails, there's 2 outcomes, but there's only 1 tails. So the probability of tails is 1/2, which is actually the same probability as heads. All right, so the next one says a bag contains 6 red marbles, 4 green marbles, 2 orange, and 10 blue ones. You select 1 marble at random from the bag. What's the probability you select a red marble? Okay, so what we're always going to do is it helps me. So here I'm reading, and it's hard for me to see all the different colors. So I'm going to go through and list them. So I have 6 red marbles, 4 green marbles, 2 orange marbles, and 10 blue marbles. Okay, so I have all that listed. I know that I'm always going to need a total. Okay, so 6 plus 4 is 10, 22. So we're talking about 22 marbles. Okay, and it says, what is the probability you select 1 marble and it's red? Okay, so we're looking for red. So there's 6 red out of 22 marbles. Okay, and again, you're always going to put your probability in simplest form. So 6 over 22, we can divide them both by 2. We get 3 out of 11. Okay, now we talked about yesterday complement, right? So the probability of something and then the complement is the opposite, right? If you remember, we have that the probability of an event plus the complement equal 1, or we said 1 minus the probability of the event equals the complement. Okay, so I know the probability is 3 out of 11, so I'm going to do this here. I'm going to say 1 minus 3 over 11. Oopsies. So I cannot subtract from a whole number, so I'm going to say if I have 11 marbles, how do I have all of the 11, right? So 11 over 11 minus 3 over 11. Oops, what? Sorry, I subtracted too fast. Okay. 3 over 11 is 8 over 11. So this is the probability of not red, okay? And this is called the complement. Okay, so next one we have, it says you pick 1 card at random from a standard deck of 52 playing cards. What is the probability you will pick a black card? Okay, write your answer as a fraction in simplest form, a decimal, and as a percent. Okay, so we know our total in a deck of cards is 52, right? So how many are red? Okay, so we know that diamonds are red, right? And there's 13 of each suit, and hearts are red. So there's 13 of each suit, right? So that would be 13 and 13 is 26 out of 52. Or we could have said if there's 1 of each suit, right? So if we had hearts, diamonds, spades, and clubs, well, our hearts and our diamonds, right? 2 out of 4, or 1/2. So is 26 over 52 the same as 1/2? Well, let's see. Sorry. Let's try 26 times 2. 2 times 6 is 12. 5. So yes. So 52, 26 over 52 is the same as 1/2, okay? So the probability that you pick a black card, black card. My math is still right, but everything else is wrong. I'm sorry. Okay, sorry. So a black card, crazy me, means I'm talking about spades or clubs, right? So spades are 13, clubs are 13, so that's 26 out of 52. Okay, so the next piece says, what is the probability that you will not pick a heart? Okay, so again, if we're just dealing with this, we can talk about, we have clubs, spades, diamonds, and hearts, right? So how many different suits are there? What is my total here? Okay, my total here is 4. There's 4 suits. And we are looking for not a heart. So we do not want a heart, right? So we want a diamond, a spade, or a club. So what is the probability of not a heart? 3 out of 4, right? Okay, and then make sure you pay attention. It says it wants it in as a fraction, a decimal. So half is, what's half of a dollar? 50 cents, right? And then to go from decimal to percent, we're going to move our decimal 2 places to the right, right? So 1, 2 makes it 50%. Or if we have 3/4, it's 3/4. So 3/4 is 75 cents or 75%. All right, so let's look at the last example real quick. So on the first day of school, Miss Luna places 10 orange and 14 purple colored pencils on each of her 24 desks. As the students arrive, she randomly assigns them a desk. What's the probability that the first student will be assigned an orange pencil? Okay, so it tells us here that she had 24 desks. Okay, so that's my total, right? And then it says we're looking for an orange pencil, okay? So orange is 10. So 10 orange out of 24, right? We're looking for orange, so it should be orange over total, right? And then you always have to put it in simplest form. So 10 over 24 divided by 2 is 5 over 12. Okay. All right, guys, make sure that you ask any questions you have today, because tomorrow we're moving on to something else. This is day 2, so get your questions asked and go ahead and get started on your independent practice.